Hello everyone, and welcome to Madeline's Kitchen. Today is December 17th, so we're getting dangerously close to Christmas. And as a result, today I'm going to prepare for you my Christmas biscotti. Now the biscotti I'm going to prepare for you today is a little different than the biscotti you would be buying in a bakery, because my biscotti has ingredients that they don't normally put into biscotti. I'm going to use dried apricot, which has been put through the food processor. I have half a cup of dried apricot, half a cup of coconut and cranberries, half a cup of cranberries. All told, we've got a cup right there. We have half a cup of Ghirardelli chocolate chips and 1 cup of almonds, which before I ground them in the food processor, I placed them on a cookie sheet here. I sprinkled them liberally with granulated sugar and baked them in the oven at 350 for 8 minutes, so they get a little toasty. Now we have all our ingredients ready. In this large bowl, I have 1 stick of unsalted butter, which I've creamed. And if your unsalted butter is a little bit hard or stiff, just put it in the microwave for 15 seconds. Don't leave it in longer, just to soften it up, and then you'll cream it with your mixer. To that, I'm now going to add 1 egg, and into that egg I have placed 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of almond extract. So let me pour that into this mixture. I want to get every little bit of it out. Scrape it out with your scraper, your spatula. And we're going to cream that together. I'm going to gradually add 1 cup of granulated sugar, and you know what? Before I get messy, I'm going to stop a minute. And I think I'll put on my Christmas apron so that I don't get any of the spatter over my nice pink sweater. Okay, now I've beaten the eggs into it. We have the cream butter. We're now going to add the 1 cup of granulated sugar, which we began. I'm going to add a little bit more gradually. Consistency. I'm going to stop in a minute, and we're going to scrape the sides of the bowl to get all the butter that may be adhering to the sides of the bowl. We want to get that in here. And we're going to add the rest of the sugar. Cream it a little more. You'll notice that I have parchment paper under this bowl. That's because once we get our batter together, we're going to roll out the dough on the parchment paper. And I think I'm going to have to add another piece of Scotch tape because the end has come up and it's going to annoy me. Okay, there we go. Good. Now we're going to start to slowly add the 2 cups of flour. Remember, we have a little, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in there. We have half a teaspoon of baking powder. You know what? I'm going to slowly get the flour here before we have flour all over the room. And I'm going to mix some of this with this. Eventually, this is going to become a very firm dough. Can you see? Is this rolling your way? If you come on this side, we're incorporating the flour into that egg and sugar and butter mixture. Now it's still creamy. But as I add more and more of this, it won't be very creamy. It's going to start to get like a dough. Now I'm going to continue mixing this, and I'll be back with you in a minute once the dough is all together, okay? See you in a few minutes. Hi. Now I have put all the ingredients into the dough, and I separated the dough into 2 separate logs. What I did is sprinkle a little flour on the cutting board, and I'm going to try to roll this out into a nice log. This is so big, we're going to make more than 1 log out of it. And you just roll it with your hands, and if you feel that it's sticking, just take a little bit more flour, sprinkle it over the top a little if you want, and on your hands, and you make your logs nice and fat. Okay, this is a nice sized log. Do it with this one. Now the oven has been set at 350 degrees bake, and we're going to put this log on parchment paper on a cookie sheet, which we will then leave in the oven for 15 minutes. So here's 1 cookie sheet covered with parchment paper. And we're going to transfer this log onto here. Roll it over. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit to make it a little bit more tasty and interesting. I'm going to take a little bit of cinnamon and just sprinkle a little cinnamon on top. And we have some cinnamon and sugar in this grinder. Let's see if I can get it out. Okay. And sprinkle some of that at the top. And this is going to go into the oven. And we'll make up 1 more cookie sheet, but we'll get this one going. And let's time it. The time is 3:50. Okay, now we'll do the next one. You want to make sure that all the fruit is evenly distributed in here. Starts out in just a big mound. Sprinkle a little flour, make sure your hands are covered with it. Took off my rings because you don't want to do this kind of work with your jewelry on. And I'm going to now break it in half and just roll it. You're not using a rolling pin for this, you're just using good old arm grease. Make sure that it stays together. It's a good one. Okay. 1 more to go. Now remember, in here, you can use any ingredients you prefer. If you don't want all these ingredients, I have chocolate chips, shredded coconut, dried apricots, and cranberries. I think we'll just sprinkle it right here before we transfer it. I love cinnamon. It's very good for you too. Oh, remember there are almonds in here as well. Now this is my cooling rack. I'm going to put it over here. If you find that it starts to break, you can cut it in half and use 2 short logs. It doesn't have to be a long log because eventually you're going to cut these pieces anyway. Okay, we're ready to go. And in it goes. Now we're going to give that 15 minutes. I'll see you in 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'll clear up this mess. And then we'll take them out. And we're going to cut them on a diagonal. And we're going to cool them first. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I'll see you in a moment. Okay? Hi, I'm back. I want to make a correction. Before I put the biscotti in the oven, I think I told you 15 minutes. The biscotti bakes in the oven for 30 minutes. It cools on a cooling rack for 15. Now I just took the 4 logs off the cooling rack. This is one of them I've already cut to show you how nice. You have delicious biscotti. I want to show you. You can see all the different flavors inside, the cranberry, the nuts, the chocolate chip. Now we're going to cut another one. And then, of course, we're going to put them away in tins. And when you cut them, look, I'm going to cut them on an angle. So your first one is the one that you can use to taste them. Okay? As I said, I will not twice bake these. I did a single bake. If you twice bake, they come out very hard, and I don't like that. I like it. It's going to be firm, but not hard. When you do it twice bake, they're very hard, and people basically break their teeth on them, or they soak them and dip them in their tea or their coffee. I like to eat mine without dipping it. So you cut it on an angle, and if you made your logs wider, your strips would be longer. It depends on what you want. Mine are cookie size. You saw the size of the logs before. Now these 2 pieces are perfect for my husband to snack on. Okay? Oh, I broke one. You have to handle them very gingerly because they're still somewhat warm. I didn't cool them to the point that they're cold. I cooled them to the point that they're no longer hot. And there you have the biscotti, which you cut on an angle. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy them for Christmas. I hope you have a happy holiday. I hope we all have a healthy, happy holiday. And God willing, there'll be no more disasters.